Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for joining me. It's Tara from the Academy of Being. And today I really wanted to discuss some of the things that happen when a kid goes through puberty and into their teen years and some of the support that they need. So, first of all, it's not just a biological situation, there is a spiritual element to it that I like to call sorry, that they have gone from being in a little pod all by themselves, where they're interacting with the world, but they're not feeling the world. Like they kind of just don't care what anybody else thinks, right? So a lot of parents will come to me and they'll say, my kid went from being this happy, like not caring about the world kid who would do, run to the beat of their own drum, all this stuff. And then now they're very different and they're depressed, have social anxiety, all these things. So, in the process of puberty, it's during those years, there is an unfolding of this pod. I call it a pod. To me, it's like this bubble that goes around them that keeps them just clean and clear all to themselves. And then after that, they feel others, which is required. It's required in order to have empathy for others. It's required to be more responsible. It's required to be a partner or a parent, all those things. Like it's very much important for them to feel the rest of the world. But during the teen years, it can be overwhelming. It can feel like they are a radio tower that's not just tuned into one radio station, but every single one is going on at the same time. And it's just this fracturing noise upon their system, making it very difficult to hear their own voice. One of the ways that you can help your child before they go into this is to get really clear on what their own voice sounds like before it. And so here's some real life scenarios that you can do. If your child, when they're like 3 or 4, wants to pick out their own clothes, and you're like, oh my gosh, no, you can't wear those pants because they're floods, or you can't wear that because it doesn't match. This is a really great time to give them their own voice, their own flavor. Choose it in situation. So it might be when they go to school, they get to choose all of their own clothes when they go to school. But when you go to a special occasion, you're like, let's choose them together. Let's do that. But you may not ever want to choose them for them because you might find that they're finding their own personalities. They're finding the things that they like and they don't not like. They're learning to support their own body. My youngest son had sensory issues when he was really little. He hated going from summer to winter because he would go from shorts to pants and the pants would touch the tops of his feet. And so he always wanted to wear floods when he was like, I want to say 4 and 5, maybe even 6. I don't think so. But in those years, he wore floods a lot of the time because he just couldn't handle it. It would fracture his day if he put on pants and they were touching his feet. So I let him wear floods. And then he also loved every color and every pattern possible. And so for a long time, when he was very young, he wore a lot of patterns and colors, which was very different from his older brother who wanted to look dapper and like precise and clean. And he would wear vests and shirts and like actual button shirts when he was like 7 and 8 because he just loved looking pristine. And he would do his hair just so, and he had an absolute opinion on how he did his hair. There's been times where I did not love his hairstyles, but he was very clear in how he wanted his hair to look. And it was really important to him. And for me to support what was important to him helped him to know that his opinion mattered. And it helps when they're going through those teen years because then they hear their own voice. They're not easily influenced by other people. They're not easily influenced by bosses, by partners, whatever it is. They're not easily influenced into doing things that just please others. That voice inside gets louder. So I said to a parent recently that I was doing a connection call with, my kids don't listen to me either. There's a bigger story to that than what most parents deal with. Like most parents deal with the fact that their kids just aren't listening. My kids don't listen to me in the fact that they're not always looking for my opinion, but believe me, they're telling me about their life. They're checking in with me. They're using me as a bouncing off point to hear themselves to a greater degree. And I believe that helps them to make choices that are stronger and better. I'm incredibly proud of the boys that I have gotten to raise, or they've raised me. I don't even know what to say, because all the way along, they've had this prominent voice that I've listened to, and they're really directing their lives. Does that mean that they don't ever listen to me? No, they're very respectful. They're very kind. They follow the rules that we have, curfews and so on and so forth. There's not a lot of rules that you have to have when someone understands what it is to honor themselves and what it is to honor others. You just don't have to create a lot of rules. They understand that level of honoring. I don't want to use the word respect, because respect tends to be like a forced thing, whereas honoring is an agreement, right? It's this agreement, this high regard for another person, and they have a high regard for themselves as well as for me. So I would say to you, definitely start early if you're listening to this. And if you're in that place right now where you're thinking to yourself, but I don't trust my kid at this age because I don't believe that they know their own voice. I feel like they're struggling to find it. They're making a lot of bad choices. That's when you reach out, right? You reach out and ask for help, because most likely their voice, and the one that will honor them and you the most, is buried under people pleasing. And it could be friend pleasing. It could be a need to rebel in a way that isn't actually good for them. I recently heard Pink, the singer, right, talk about her daughter, and she's like, she's such a rule follower, and I just tell her all the time, like, use me as somebody to push against, like, scream at me, tell me no sometime, because I'm her safe space. I will love her forever. And we do need our kids to do that, especially at a very young age. We need them to push against us. We need them to push us back so that they can find their own yeses and nos, and especially things that don't matter, clothing choices, even food choices. A lot of these things don't really matter in the big grand scheme of things, but it matters that they find their voice. So whatever you can do to help them to find that and to cultivate that, rather than being this huge parental role, right? The old parental role, which is, I'm here to guide you. I'm here to tell you how to be, think, and act. And you need to follow me because I know so much more. I tend to find that these kids are coming in as souls within a body, or bodies within a soul, like, because our soul is actually so much bigger than the body. And if we tune into that, we will guide them towards their path with less resistance and less struggle, less pain. I think we all have struggle, but we can have less pain with the struggle if we support it and we learn how to support it faster. So if you have any questions, please reach out, and I hope you have an awesome day. Thanks.